Unless there's an undiscovered park in Perrysburg, this is the last episode in the park series. Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 109. I am your host, Perrysburg resident Kim Newlove. The Perrysburg Podcast is a resource for Perrysburg residents, future and current. We talk about what's in Perrysburg and why people like to live here. Our website is perrysburgpodcast.com. Today, we're talking about Three Meadows Park. Three Meadows Park is a city park, and it's the last park in the park series. The address for your GPS is 300 Three Meadows Drive, Perrysburg, Ohio, of course. You can see this park from I-75, and you can also see I-75 from this park. There is more than one parking lot. By my count, there are three. There's two right by the boathouse. One's along the side and one's in front of the boathouse, and the other is by the playground. And if you have a disability placard, accessible parking spaces are available at each parking lot. During this episode, I will talk about the features of Three Meadows Park. I will sometimes probably mess up and call it Three Meadows Pond. For some reason, my family and I have always called this park Three Meadows Pond. Anyways, along the way, I will share some memorable stories like that one about my experiences with Three Meadows Park. At this time, what I'm going to do is list what I think are the top 11 noteworthy features about Three Meadows Park. Then I will go back over each feature one at a time and say something about each feature. All right, here's the list. Number one, two ponds. Number two, two bridges. Number three, a shelter house. Number four, a small basketball court. Number five, a canoe and kayak storage rack. Number six, a boathouse. Number seven, a playground. Number eight, an open field with picnic areas. Number nine, a porta potty during the winter months when the restrooms are closed. Number 10, paved sidewalks. And number 11, signage, including a sign that I had just noticed this year about the spotted lanternfly. It says squash and destroy. Love that. Anyways, let's go over each feature one at a time, starting with number one, the two ponds. There is a smaller pond near the playground and the shelter house, and a larger pond near the boathouse. There are benches at both ponds, kind of scattered around each pond. Fishing is catch and release at both ponds, and in June, there is an annual youth fishing derby at Three Meadows Park. Fishing line recycling containers, of course, are provided at both ponds. When we were new to Perrysburg in the year 2007, families still swam at the big pond at Three Meadows Park. Now I do not see that. As I record this in the year 2025, swimming is actually not recommended. It's discouraged at Three Meadows Pond, Three Meadows Park, due to high bacteria levels from waterfowl. That includes geese and ducks, probably seagulls too. But dogs can swim at the owner's risk. Little story about that. We used to have a yellow Labrador retriever. His name was Chewy, Chewie, Chewy. And Chewy swam in Three Meadows Pond, the big pond. As the story goes, Chewy and I went to the pond when it was getting dark. You probably know where I'm going with this story. Chewy went swimming in the water and he was being stubborn. He was having the time of his life chasing geese and ducks. And then it got totally dark and he did not come to shore. I called his name. I told him I had treats. I started the car and started driving away, hoping that would make him want to come to the car. Don't worry, he did not drown. I thought he drowned, but he did not, in fact, drown. He scared the crap out of me. He was in the water for a total of more than an hour swimming before he came out. He was wet, he was smelly, and he was exhausted. But I was never so happy to see that dumb dog. Gosh, I miss him. He lived a long life after that. That was probably back in 2008, and he lived until 2015. He died right before his 14th birthday in 2015. God bless Chewy. May he rest in peace. He was a sweetie. Now, that large pond at Three Meadows Park is also good for paddling, and I have a short story about that. We rented some small watercraft from River Lures in Grand Rapids, Ohio, back in, oh, geez, I want to say 2014, 2015 ish. And we brought it to Three Meadows Pond to paddle around. We rented a kayak and a paddleboard. We liked paddling so much that we ended up buying a two-man kayak, a tandem kayak, as you call it, from River Lures there in Grand Rapids, Ohio. Nowadays, I don't think they're still in business, so if you need a kayak, you can buy it from someone else. I recommend Maumee Tackle. They're in Maumee, Ohio. But anyways, you are totally still allowed to paddle at Three Meadows Park. Why is it good to paddle at Three Meadows Park? It's because it's a pond, not a river. There is no current, and the depth, if you stay close to shore, is really not very deep. It's a great introduction to paddling. If you want to get on the water, develop your paddling skills, it's a great place to go. My only complaint about Three Meadows Pond is that they don't have a handicap accessible boat launch there yet. I have a child with a disability. He's an adult now, but still, he needs that handicap accessible boat launch, and they just don't have one there at Three Meadows Pond. They used to have a sandy beach where you could just drag your boat or your paddleboard right up into the water. It was what you might call a zero depth entry. They have re landscaped it. It's beautiful. It has stone steps, but it's very dangerous for people who need a handicap accessible boat launch. My son Craig has balance issues and he's not able to just step into his boat. Sure, you can drag your boat down there, but I need something to cradle the boat, and there's just nothing there. I think we were better off with the sandy beach. Just my 2 cents here. We actually can't kayak at Three Meadows Pond anymore with our tandem kayak because of this change. I'm thinking of getting a single kayak so I can still go out there myself. I'm trying to think ability first, but City of Perrysburg, if you're listening, you really need to get a handicap accessible boat launch right there at Three Meadows Pond. That does it for feature number one, the two ponds. You heard about the ponds, the catch and release fishing, the benches, and all that jazz. Now let's move on to feature number two, the two bridges. There are two bridges at Three Meadows Park. One bridge will take you from the small pond to that grassy field where there's a picnic area. The other bridge will take you from that picnic area to the larger pond. The bridge over the larger pond is my favorite of the two bridges. It goes over a creek and it looks really peaceful when you stand there on the bridge and look out over the creek and the big pond. If you have not been to that larger bridge yet, give it a try. Feature number three is the shelter house. The shelter house at Three Meadows Park is close to the playground, the drinking fountains, the basketball hoop, and the smaller pond. There is a fireplace right inside the shelter house. There's also picnic tables, an AED, and a bleeding control kit. There are bathrooms at the shelter house and also one charcoal grill. The shelter house can be rented by contacting the city of Perrysburg, but if you stop by and no one's using it, you're welcome to just drop by and use it at no cost. There is a glass case on the outside of the building there at the shelter house, and it announces what dates and times the shelter house has already been reserved. So if you stop by and you want to use it, you can tell if somebody's about ready to crash your party. That does it for the shelter house. Now, on to feature number four. It's a small basketball court. And I'm not going to lie, it is a single hoop in a parking lot. There's nothing wrong with it. It might be a half court setup. I don't think there are lines. I can't remember. I was just there this week and I don't remember seeing lines, like the foul shot line, the three-point line, etc. It's not a very official basketball court. My younger son, Derek, used to play there with his friends, and it's worth mentioning because it's often available whenever I stop by. It might be the least used basketball court in the city of Perrysburg because most people don't know it's even there. Let's move on to feature number five. It is the canoe and kayak storage rack. There is a wooden structure near the boathouse along Three Meadows Drive. It is a kayak and canoe storage rack. As long as you're a Perrysburg resident, you can use it free of charge. Now, according to the signage at the park, right there on the rack, you just need to get a permit from the city to use it. For more information, call the City of Perrysburg's Department of Public Service. The number is 419-872-8020. I have never used the racks over at Three Meadows Pond or Three Meadows Park, but they look just like the ones that are at Orleans Park, which I have used, so they do look sturdy. And if you would like to use them, again, check those out. They're available for free. Just get your permit from the city. Feature number 6 is the boathouse. The boathouse is located along Three Meadows Drive, right there in front of the larger pond. When my kids were little, they used the bathroom there, and I think they changed into and out of their swimsuits. Other than that, I didn't really ever use the boathouse for anything. I don't know what people use it for currently. I have not seen it open for years, but then again, I don't go there very often. Many years ago, back in 2007, 2008 ish, I think the city used to rent canoes to park visitors there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to email me, kim@perrysburgpodcast.com. But again, I think the city used to rent canoes to park visitors, so it used to be staffed. Again, it's been many years since I've seen the boathouse in use. That's all I've got for the boathouse. Let's move on to the playground with benches. Feature number 7 is a playground with benches. The playground at Three Meadows Park was recently updated and it looks great. There's new equipment in there, and there is a brand new shiny black metal fence around the playground. There's a play set for the smaller kids and a playground for the big kids. I would say that for the little kids, it's a 2-year-olds through 5-year-olds kind of a setup. And for the bigger kids, I would say it's, kindergarten through the end of elementary school age. So 5 to 11 years old, let's say. There are swings also at the playground and benches. That does it for the playground. Now let's move on to number 8. Feature number 8 is an open field with picnic areas. Three Meadows Park has plenty of open grassy field space, and there are also picnic tables. It's just that simple. If you need an open field to fly a kite, throw a football around, or play soccer, there's plenty of room to play at Three Meadows Park. There are several picnic tables there as well. Moving on. Feature number 9 is not at the park right now. Can you guess what it is? As I record this in August of 2025, the porta potty is not there yet. The porta potty makes its appearance in the colder weather months because in the colder weather months like October, late October through April, the bathrooms at the shelter house and the boathouse are closed for the season. So the city provides a portable restroom. Feature number 10 is paved sidewalks. Last time I checked, Three Meadows Park has concrete sidewalks. Some of the other city parks have asphalt or crushed gravel. Three Meadows Park is different. It has concrete sidewalks. There's also a sandy path through the grass at the larger pond that goes to the old beach where people used to swim. It's probably the closest to the highway. It's the closest part of Three Meadows Big Pond near the highway. The path has almost completely grown over with grass, but not quite. And the 11th and final feature on my list is signage. I think I end most of my episodes about parks with signage. It's kind of the most boring part. Sorry about this. The city of Perrysburg has signs with rules and regulations at the boathouse and at the shelter house. It's pretty basic stuff. I'll just give you the highlights. I think the most interesting thing on the sign is that they have crossed off the part about ice skating. It looks like ice skating used to be a feature of Three Meadows Park, at the ponds when they freeze over, but not anymore. The city has covered that part of the sign up with some white tape. Of course, I can see through the tape, so I mention it on the podcast. There's some information about fishing on the sign. Fishing is catch and release. We've already talked about that. And there is a youth fishing derby every June. The playground is for kids 2 through 11. We already talked about the playground. There are no dogs allowed on the playground. No smoking either. If your kids are smokers, don't let them smoke on the playground. Haha, just kidding. There's information on the sign about reserving the shelter house through the City of Perrysburg's Department of Public Service. The number again is 419-872-8020, and I believe that you can reserve a shelter house through the City of Perrysburg's website as well. If I can find a link, I will put that in the show notes on perrysburgpodcast.com. The sign also talks about swimming. Swimming, as we've already discussed, is discouraged. There are no lifeguards on duty, and there is not a single life saving device present. So, swim at your own risk. Bacteria levels may be high due to waterfowl. It's right there on the sign. And the sign also says that dogs can swim at the owner's risk. I told you about my experience with that. Let your dog swim at your own risk. Also on the sign is information about watercraft. We already talked about my experience with paddleboards and kayaks. The sign says boat at your own risk. Non motorized watercraft is allowed, no motorboats. However, they do allow radio controlled watercraft at Three Meadows Pond. There's also some general information on the sign, like the park is open from dawn to dusk. Use parking spaces. Do not park on the grass. Dogs must be on a leash unless they're swimming, I guess. Go ahead and clean up your dog's waste. There's no alcohol allowed, no loud music, no campfires, and again, no dogs on the playground. And one last thing about the signage, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. On the signage near the boathouse, there's also a note to squash and destroy spotted lanternflies. If you've not heard about these spotted lanternflies, they're an invasive species here in Ohio. There's a picture of the different appearances of the lanternfly from young to old on the sign. So if you see one, apparently you need to squash and destroy the lanternflies. There you go. And that does it for the signage at Three Meadows Park. I'd like to point out that there appears to be no free Wi Fi provided by the city at Three Meadows Park. If there is no signage about it. I didn't whip out my iPhone and try to connect, so that will remain a mystery. I did not check that out prior to publishing this episode. So I'm just going to publish this with the information that I have. We all do the best we can with the information we have, right? I also didn't see a little free library at Three Meadows Park. Many of Perrysburg's city parks have little free libraries in them with free books. People will either drop off a book or take a book. Hopefully, you do a little bit of both throughout your life if you live here in Perrysburg. And I would say that if someone would like to add a little free library, there seems to be plenty of room for one at Three Meadows Park. Now, as we start to wrap this episode up, I would like to add that the Perrysburg Slow Rollers Bicycle Group rides past Three Meadows Park every month. When I started riding with the group in June, I found that to be a very welcome thing. I do not make it out to Three Meadows Park very often, so since I have a lot of fond memories with Three Meadows Park in it, the Slow Rollers connection just adds to my fondness for that park. It's really nice to ride by the park. And one last anecdote that I will share is that Google Images has some really great pictures of Three Meadows Park and the ponds. So if you're thinking of moving to this area and you haven't been to the park yet and you just want to check out pictures of the park, I want you to Google Three Meadows Park, Perrysburg, Ohio, and check out this great city park. When you type it in, it is three spelled out. It's THREE, Three Meadows Park. And that does it for the features of Three Meadows Park and my personal stories as well. This has been episode 109 of the Perrysburg Podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode on perrysburgpodcast.com. In the show notes, you'll find a link to Three Meadows Park on the City of Perrysburg's website, a list of the other parks previously featured on the Perrysburg Podcast, and more. Hooray, we're done with the park series here on the Perrysburg Podcast. If you would like to be notified by email when a new episode of the Perrysburg Podcast comes out, sign up for the newsletter on perrysburgpodcast.com. I'll email you every week. You can also subscribe to or follow the Perrysburg Podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Go ahead and share this episode with your park loving friends. Thank you so much for listening today. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.